Hello and welcome to the Pipnotic Symposium for the 28th of October 2018. Today we are going to have a look at supply and demand, obviously, and then we're going to touch on the shorter term trading, as I know this is interesting for many people. I've actually been doing some shorter term trading here the past few months because I'm having more time to sit in front of the computer during the day, and so instead of doing the swing trading stuff, I've been doing kind of intraday stuff, where the positions are open for some hours or as long as a couple of days max, and it's been really interesting, and these trades have been working out very, very well. And so I'm just going to show exactly what I'm doing, and this will, I think, help you to perhaps do the same thing. Today we, just on a side note, we went to the reptile park here in Bali, which was absolutely crazy. They were showing some of the native reptiles that live in some parts of Indonesia, and it was crazy. Today we saw spitting cobras and king cobras, and there was an anaconda, and there was like a 7-meter long python, which is insane. And there was a local newspaper here about half a year ago who posted a story about a python that ate a local woman. So that was completely crazy, but lots of really exciting things in that park. So still got the hairs on my arms are standing up, so I think the novelty should hopefully wear off soon. Okay, good. Let's get to it. But what I like to do is I like to have a couple of time frames, so like my longer term or my shorter term, or maybe sometimes 3. But I find that I'm spending a lot of time just looking at 2. So I have my longer term time frame, which is for the shorter term is the daily chart, and I have my entry time frame, which is typically one lower, which is the 4-hour. But if you want to go super tiny, then you can also go down to the 1-hour chart as your long term, and the 15-minute, which is your entry time frame. But I find that when I've been trading these intraday trades, my long term is still the daily, and my short term is my 4-hour. But feel free to adjust that to whatever you're most comfortable with. What I've been doing is I've been simply doing something very, very simple, where I'll just drag the pairs over onto this chart, and here I have the period changer, which is a free download on the Pipnotic website, so grab that, put it on here, and the supply and demand. And what the period changer does, it just ensures that the symbol on this chart is also the symbol on this chart. So if I drag the Euro USD over here onto this chart, we get the Euro USD over on the chart over here. It just makes it a lot easier, so I don't have to drag onto this chart and the next chart. Of course, what I'm doing, we'll start with the Aussie dollar, American dollar. I am looking at the rectangles. Are the rectangles above price or below price? Well, they are very clearly above price. What does that mean? That means I'm only going to sell. So what I do then is I look to my entry time frame, which is a 4-hour, and I mark off the high of the most recent pullback, and then I'll look for an area of supply above that. And for me, that area of supply is very clear. It's right here. I just go like this just to save the rectangle, and I'm going to have a closer look at this, and you can see that we have, let me zoom in, we have price came down, it moved up, and then it left, and you can see that we have kind of these 2 accumulation candles here, and the body of this one was in the range of this one, the body of this one was not in the range of this one, and this one here, you can see that the body of this one is not in the range of the previous. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to move the entry, the bottom, like the low of this rectangle, and the high is going to be a bit above. Normally I'll take, depending the size of it, sometimes about 2 times the size of this area. So instead of being 17 pips, I'll put it on like 35-ish. Or 30, whatever, something like that. Then I'll put my order in to sell here, my stop here, and my target at opposing demand. So we have that down here. There's nothing here. I mean, this is This is really just sloppy price. There's nothing in here. This is showing us that we have something below here that's interesting. So I'm going to put in my order to sell here. My stop is going to go here, and my target is going to go, come on, is going to go down here, like there. And what I'm looking for at least 3 times the size. And so what I need to see is I want, from the area that I identify, I want price to have moved at least 3 times the size of this away. So if we look at that, we have 1, 2, 3. So about right there. So did price move past this line? It did. It went down here. So this is a valid one for me. So I'll do this. Move this up there. And this is going to be my trade. So this is going to be my take profit. I'll probably move it around here, plus a few pips around here. That's it. Then I'm going to walk away. So this is a set and forget trade for me. I'm not fiddling with this too much. Yeah, so that's essentially what I'm doing for these shorter term trades. I'm just going to delete all these, and we're going to do another one. And so before I say anything else, I'll say that sometimes I'll have about 10 or so of these orders in the market, and I'll just walk away and leave them. And every day I'll come in and I'll have a look and I'll reanalyze the market. Sometimes something happens on the setup. Let's say price comes up and it accumulates, and then it kind of comes up to there and it'll kind of stick to the bottom of the entry. Then I'll pull this trade off because I'll expect that price will have a run and move through it. So every day I'm spending an hour moving through all of the pairs that I want and putting all these orders on and simply adjusting them. And it's going really well just doing that. And I'm spending maybe an hour a day on it, so not a long time. You might hear it's raining a little bit outside in the jungle, and there's someone playing the drums in the background, so I apologize for the noise. So let's have a look at the euro US dollar. So what do we have here? Well, we have rectangles above, but we also have a rectangle below. What does that mean? Well, that means, well, this is a pretty nice area of demand. And so you want, when this happens, you want to focus on the curve. So how far are we? So you can see, yes, we have a nice area here, but this is really low in the curve. If we have a look here, this is at the 1467. Where's that? It's right here. That's a little bit close to me. I wouldn't be comfortable with that because I would expect price to maybe move up, challenge these highs before continuing lower. Why? Because we're testing this. If there was none of this, if this was not here, if this low was higher than this low, then I would take this one. But because of this, I'm going to look higher. So what I'll do is I'll do the same thing again, put my line there, and I'll look above. Where do we have supply? We have supply here. So I'll actually put my area over here, twice the size, refresh, and then I've got that. So that's what I'd be looking at for this one here. My stop would go above my entry, and the price moved 4 times as far. So we have 26, so we want at least 75. There's 75 right there. Did it move below this area here? It did. It went all the way down here. So I feel pretty comfortable about taking this. What I might do is look inside this little price nodule here to see what's going on, just to see if we have a parent-child relationship there. I mean, it looks okay, but all of this here, this would bring my attention up to this one here, because you can see, I mean, price came here, and then it came back, and then we have all these wicks here. I want to find the highest wick test. So this would bring my attention to this one, because, I mean, there's nothing above here. This is probably the area that I would be comfortable with. Price will likely come a little bit further into the area, maybe the test of this green bar, which is a 117.11, and move down from there. But I'd be comfortable putting my entry here, my target there, and then 3 times that. 1, 2, 3. So something like that. Oops. There we are. For this trade, go back to the 4-hour chart, and I'd be totally happy with that there. Totally happy. We'll probably get maybe a bit of a bounce at this area here, but this is not very reassuring because it's reacting to this, and this is a really sharp push. We have that V pattern, you know, price came down, accumulated, then left quickly. We consume this area of supply. If we draw some rectangles here, we can find it. We've got this one here. Zoom in. This area of demand took this one out, so this is the one that's in control, like that. Has it been tested? Is it taken out? It's pretty much taken out. You can see it's price went below here, but we didn't close below it. So what area did that? We have this one here, this one here. Kind of went through here, and this just cut through it. So we have this one here. That's interesting. But note, if we go back to here, I said that prices didn't close below that one. What does that mean? That means that this one is not responsible for taking this out because we did not close, like trade below it. But this one here did. So this is the area that we'd be looking to trade. Price came back to it. Pretty close to where we'd expect, which would be the high of this one. And this is where it retreated from. So this one is currently holding price, and we have a couple of ones below price that are still in place. So if we go to the smaller time frame and have a look, I mean, this is we had kind of like on the smaller time frame we have an upward sloping trend line break. This is one that did it. So you could look at that, but just be a little bit careful because we are reacting at that daily demand. We have this one here, which is one I looked at. I'd want to go higher on this. Why? Because of the wick. So I'd feel more comfortable looking inside the wick and finding something else. This could also be one of these, so we're going to want to take the high of the test, the pullback. And so you need to go to the small time frames in order to validate these areas. But somewhere around here, I think will be just fine. And this is also interesting because from when price came down from here, which is small supply, we managed to move through all of this. And this is interesting because we had these. So we had something up here. There's probably supply up here. This area took it out. What we could probably see is we have the parent-child business here. Like that. Oops. There we are. It was tested. Which one took it out? Well, this one did. And this is roughly where price came back to. So child, parent. So this is fresh. Still, price has not been all the way back there yet. This might be interesting. The price might come a little bit deeper and find kind of the origin of this move, which will bring our attention to higher up on this particular chart. Okay. Oops. I'm going to go like this. Symbol changer. Good. Hope I didn't run around there too much. Let's have a look at something else. Good. Now if we have a look at the pound, just to see if this is interesting. Is this interesting? Yes, but you can see we have these 4-hour areas of supply above price, which we can see here. So price is wriggling down nicely, and what I do like is that we have a high, we have a lower high, we have a low, and price is closed below that. So price moved through this here at, or rather from this area, which is a 129.56, 129.56. Okay, so it's kind of from around this area here. Box that whole area off. So there's 129.56 right there. And a closer look will tell you that we have parent-child in here, parent-child. So my entry for this would be here, like that, plus a few pips. So this is where I'd be looking to sell. I don't know what there. This candle goes up to here. This one is taken from here, so I would definitely start selling from this point here, the 129.92. That's what I would be most comfortable with. 129.92. That brings us to around here. So kind of the upper edge of this area of supply. And this one down here is pretty low. It's this one here. It's a little bit too shallow, and so I would not want to sell here. I'd definitely look for this because this low was taken out by something up here. So you want to look for an area of supply that's above this area of demand. Okay, so we went up, we came down, we went up, and then price closed past this from this area. So this is the origin of the move that consumed this. And so here, entry, stop, and the target would be the lows from here, which is at least 3 times the distance of the size of that. Okay, cool. Let's try and have a look at another $1 CAD. What do we have here? We can see here it's kind of a little bit messy. Let's have a look. What we have here, we have these lows. Let me draw this in just so it's clearer. Gonna go like that. So what's going on here? And we have the lows that are going lower, 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 lower. These are going lower, lower, lower. This went higher, lower, the same, higher. Now it's kind of going higher. And so this is telling me that there's something in here that's kind of holding price. So I'd be a little bit careful about selling this for the time being. So what I'd do instead is I would go to the weekly chart and I'd look there. I'll say what's going on. I can't see it on the other time frame, and you can see here that we have kind of a downward sloping trend line. Price is kind of at the edge of that now, kind of struggling just below. And so I'd be a little bit careful about selling. Let's go to the monthly and have a look. Oops. And okay, the monthly for me is really clear now. Why? Because I would be selling from up here. And so yes, this would have been a potential intraday entry, but because of what we're seeing on the monthly chart, I wouldn't be looking to sell. I'd expecting price to move higher and move into this area of monthly supply before it continues lower. And I like this. We have high, high, low, low. And so price is just moving low. So I'd expect price to go like this, move up into here, and then move down from here, because this is just like a correction. We have kind of an upward sloping trend line, like so. And so we're probably going to get a trend line break, which would enable us to sell up here if you're waiting for confirmation, or just sell at this monthly area just above price. Okay, so yeah, I'm totally looking at the daily chart, but there's no clarity on the daily chart here. It's not very clear on the daily chart as to what's going on, and so I'd wait on that one and go to something that's clearer. Like this one, this is looking a little bit clearer, where we have a high, low, lower high, lower low. Price is feeding into this 4-hour area of demand, which is holding nicely. And so ideally like price to trade below this and like close below this, which it hasn't done yet. So I would wait to do anything. And so when I see this, then I want to go higher. See what's going on. You can see that this low was formed above this low, and so I would expect price to continue moving higher up into this. So I would not be looking to short the American dollar, Japanese yen for that time frame. And so this is like a bullish bias because of what I've seen on the weekly chart. And so you have to take this into consideration here. And you can see here, we have the lows are going higher and the highs are going higher. So we can anticipate that this is going to continue until we have market structure that fails, which we haven't seen yet. And so just be very, very careful about that. Okay. This is a really big rejection. So I mean, there looks like there's something going on down here. So I wait selling that. Let's have a look at the dollar franc. What's going on here? Again, it's pretty messy. We have high, low, higher, high, kind of lower, low. So it's kind of like, I mean, this one's higher than this one, so what's going on? It's not clear. So again, move to the higher time frame, see what the major flows are doing. What are they doing? That's still like pretty unclear. I mean, you can see that we had kind of a move, and then price went up and then down, and now we're coming back and testing that area. But price has been back here many times in the past, so I'd feel more comfortable buying than I would selling this pair. So we'll go to the monthly chart and see if we can see what's going on. Can we see what's going on here? We can't. And there's nothing, there's no clarity. All we have is market structure failure. So that has happened. This area of demand was the one that caused it, and price is already tested, so I'm going to expect price to move higher. So do not sell the American dollar Swiss franc because of that. You can totally do it intraday, but if you do that intraday and you get stuck in a trade, then you might be holding a short position in a market that's only going higher. So just be really, really careful. And yes, I mean, like I said, I've been looking to do these intraday trades, and so this is absolutely one of those pairs that I would pass on. I'd look at that and I'd say no, and I would move through it as quick as this. So if, let's just assume I was on the dollar Japanese yen, if I'd have moved it like this, I would have seen that and I'd have gone to the next one. I would have spent 5 seconds on it, and this is better. See, this is what I like to see. This is much more interesting. So I say good, we got that. So what's going on the 4-hour chart? On the 4-hour chart, we have this, and I like this. So we mark off the highest high, which is the highest retracement, which is here. Then look at that level. Here we have accumulation or higher to sell. So I would put my order into sell somewhere around here. Why? Because we expect this to continue. This is a good retracement, which brings us up into here, which I like, which is kind of the meat of this. And if you have a look, you can see that, I mean, this is kind of where the meat of this would be. 93.91, 93.85. So we're pretty close to that. That kind of meat, that liquidity up there. So I would be looking to sell from around here. I'll probably go down to the smaller time frame to find it, but I'd feel comfortable selling from around this area here because of what I'm seeing here. You can see that lower lows and lower highs, supply is in demand, demand is being consumed. So this is really clear a short market for us. Let's have a look at the Aussie Japanese yen. See, this is one of those ones I would just pass on. I wouldn't even stop. Aussie Kiwi. Yeah, this is looking a little bit more interesting. We have a high, low, so I'd be looking to sell, and you can see drop, accumulation, drop. So somewhere up in here, you could look to sell around here. I'm just going to move through these really quickly just so you get an idea. Aussie Singaporean dollar. This looks kind of okay, a little bit messy here. Sort of what you'd want to sell above here. This looks okay from around this area here. But we have what we're looking for. We have a high, low, high, and low. So price is trading below this low. So we do have technically what we want to see. What I don't like is this huge pin bar, and you can see price came down and retraced. So that'll make me zoom out, mark off the low, and then look to the left. What are we reacting on? Oh, look at that. These are some all-time lows. That's normal data. So be careful here. You can see that you would be selling into, this could be like a big area of demand from over here that we can't see. The price is poking into for the first time and for the second time. So be very careful selling there. And this is a pretty clear telltale sign that the price might start to move higher from here. So this is one I would probably pass on. Move to the next one. What do I see? Do I see what I like? Yeah, kind of. We have a low, 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 low. And price came up, so we had our trend line has been broken. Something like that. So what did it? Something in here, something in here. So I would probably look at this area here. Maybe look to buy from around here. Yes, I think, sorry, we're on the, that's right, this is fine. I thought we're on the 4-hour chart here as well. So I'd probably look to start to buy from around here, the 7,500 area. And you can see that, I mean, we had this. Tested once, price rallied, accumulated just below it, and then cut through. So what area of demand took out this supply? This one. So this is where I'd start to buy. Okay. Very good. Okay, cool. Let's have a look at another one. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure about this here. This looks like it's kind of wriggling high. We have this up here. We have a high, we have a low, we have kind of, we look at the most recent, we have a low, a high, slightly higher low, then a higher high. So we can expect price to come back down to here and then wriggle up north from here. So I think this would be something that we could look to move higher, and I would probably do that from a price a little bit lower. Yeah, here, from down here. Here you can see it very, very clearly. So we had these highs. Just mark these off. High, high, high. So price is already fed into here. Good. So we can see that we have this area here, which has been tested. Now price has moved through it, so it's going lower. So we'd probably want to move lower here, or potentially all the way down here, which is also a little bit messy. There's not a lot of nice demand below price. We have this, which I think is alright. So something like that. And price is pretty close to it now. If the time being price is kind of bouncing around there, we have a lot of rejection there, so potentially we could see price to move higher. Sorry, the house just filled with kids. So I'm expecting the price will maybe come a little bit lower and then move higher. There's also been a lot of negative news. Sorry, a lot of positive news. Fundamentals in Japan, which has caused all Japanese crosses to drop in favor of the Japanese yen, which is what we're seeing here. Right, let's have a look. Yeah, I mean, this is moving down very quickly. We react on weekly supply. There's a lot of stuff going on above, so I just like sell here. But we're pretty far down. We have a bit of a rejection there, and so I wouldn't want to touch this for the time being. We kind of have this here. This is kind of coming back to this trend line here, but I don't like this. I would pass on this immediately. I'd keep looking. Okay, so we have here to here. So price is moving higher. We have this, which is where the move above this high originated from. That's at the 59.13. So I'll try and find that here. 59.13. Where are you? So right around here. You have this here, but it's not pretty. This is better, so I would look for something down here instead, because this is essentially like a pullback and then a move higher. So this would be the beginning of the buy zone, and this is where the thicket of liquidity would be located. Okay, good. Let's have a look. Move on. Move all these. Gone. Gone. EuroCAD. Yeah, and this is probably going to wriggle. We have this low here, and this is a higher low, and so I'd be a little bit cautious about selling. You'd want to sell pretty high up, like up here. You could do that because you do have like a low, high, lower, low, lower, high, lower, low. But I'd want price to come a little bit further up, potentially into this area here before I started to sell. I'd pass on that. Euro pound, what do we have? Low, high, low, high, low. This is a very strong push lower, but I'd want to see, because price is came up from below, I'd want to see what was going on in these bigger time frames in order to make a conclusion. You can see that we're kind of getting close to this valley here, which is kind of like the origin. We had a rally, accumulation, rally. So here we have the parent, we have the child. So this is a reaction to the child, and price is wriggling higher. Yeah, I wouldn't sell this just yet. I'd want price to move higher, and I can't see that it would be a very good idea to sell for a price any cheaper than from the 90.50 area. This is where I'd look to start to sell. But I'd want price to be high. There's no supply here. This supply has been tested. So I totally look from the test and above from there. So look, Euro, Japanese yen. Yeah, messy. Wouldn't touch it. Or go to the higher time. I was wrong on the weekly chart. That's why. Yeah, I mean, still messy. We do have a trend line break. Low, high, low, high. Price left. We broke the trend line. What area of supply did it? Well, it's pretty messy. We have something that departed from here, but it's really messy. But you could start to look to sell from the highs of this pullback. So this would be the beginning of the sell zone, and this is the thicket of it. There's a lot of trading in here, so I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that. But that's what we're looking for, essentially. The Euro Kiwi. Yeah, a little bit messy. You can see that we have a low, high, low, high, low, high, low, high, a lower low. So this is a bit messy for me, so I would pass on that. Pound Aussie. Yeah, price has been moving pretty low, and we're moving down into this area of 4-hour demand. We have it here. Looks like this. So parent child, but this is reacting to this. There's something down in here. So maybe from here. And below that we have nothing until down here. And so we could expect price to continue to fall because we have these areas of supply above price, and we do have room for price to continue to move low. I think we're going to probably move into here, maybe had a bit of a struggle, but I think essentially price is going to move below this low here and move back down into here or down here. So this is something maybe to be careful on, probably pass on entirely. So we have this one here. Let's have a look. Yeah, mess. But we do have maybe something turning around going on. We had a low really into this weekly area of demand. Price left. We formed a higher low, higher high. Price having a retracement, and now it's moving high. So I would maybe wait and see what happened with this. It's kind of this pattern. We have this pattern that looks like this, kind of like. So price is squeezing. So let's see what happens there. If price does something like, and then you could buy, but if it went down and broke and went down here like that, then you could sell, but you'd be selling into weekly demand, so that's not necessarily a good idea. So I'd want price to move higher, and there's no supply here. I mean, price has already been back to here, and this is ugly, and so I would definitely look higher. So if we do that, we mark off the high, scroll back. There we have this, which is it was testing this, and so yeah, I mean I wouldn't be too comfortable selling until we got up to here. This is a really nice area, just a really nice drop, boom. So you can see the price already came up to the lows, support became resistance, and then moved away. So this is ultimately the beginning of the sell zone, the thicket of which would be located up into here. Okay, good. Delete these. Good. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. I like to be able to. Sometimes I use like I have this indicator which I've been using for a while. Let's have a look. Micro. I'll look like this, and I'll just look for these dots. It's pretty much the fractal, or the swing point indicator. But on this one, it's just letting me define how important these swings are. Okay, so instead of like a swing point has to have, the traditional swing point has to have 2 on either side, the lower, for this to be marked as a high, and for low, we want 2 on either side to be high, for this to be a low. So this is just allowing me to change this number. So I want 4 on each side, or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 144. And this is what I'm seeing here, and you can see when they're orange, that means they have not been violated. So we have these price levels being respected here below price. You can see we have some dark shady ones here, which means that price is moving beyond those. And so we can expect price to maybe wriggle higher from here because of that. So you look at the most recent one. What color is it? It's orange. You can use a fractal indicator in MT4. It's exactly the same. And you just focus on these. So you have 2 like swing points here. We have the most recent swing point here. So once price moves above here, well, then we have the beginning of an uptrend, because we'll have a signal that we could, a trend line, a couple of trend points that we could put the trend line on. And so we do have these are light, so these are unviolated, which means that the lows are moving higher. And so I'd be pretty comfortable maybe buying into something down here if price has a pullback to maybe this area here. We'll have to see. But if there's no clarity, again, go to the weekly and have a look. Maybe there's some insight, and there is. I kind of changed my mind to buy because we have the orange ones above price, which means they're not violated, and this one has been violated. So yeah, I mean, we can expect price to maybe wriggle lower. We're currently reacting at this, and so I'd be a little bit careful. But you've got a different time frame, that means things change. So you can see here, what do we have here? We have 2 below price, orange, gray. So you can see we're having conflicting messages on these different time frames. So we have this one here, we're an uptrend on the monthly, downtrend on the weekly, and an uptrend on the daily. So it's like really confusing. So what do I recommend you do? You just be mindful of what's going on in these major flows. We're reacting to this supply. That's what price is doing, but it looks like we're maybe finding a base here, somewhere in here. We might wriggle down to down here, this area here, before we find some buyers and essentially move high from there. Yes. And this is not taking a lot of time at all. I mean, I'm using max an hour a day on this. I'm pretty focused on this algo trade at the moment, a lot, and so a lot of my trades are being entered by the algo trader because I'm testing a lot, and I'm testing on a live account, on a very small live account, and it's going really well, which is very exciting. And these are pretty much the criteria that the robot is looking for as well. It's looking for market structure to be moving in a direction, higher or lower on, for example, the daily chart. Then it's looking for entries on the 1 hour chart, which are based on exactly what we've just looked at now. And the reason I'm using the 1 hour chart is because this gives me more clarity and more detail to delve into. So we go back to the Australian dollar, American dollar example. You can see here that these have been violated. It's the exact same thing as this. We have gray ones at the bottom, or if you don't have the indicator, which you don't need at all, we'll just delete it. We have the boxes above price, which is telling us to what? To sell. Sell. And so that's what we're doing. So the robot's looking at this and saying, yes, we have to sell, and it's looking for these. It's looking for pullbacks, and it's looking for the beginning of the sell zone, and then it's starting to sell, put orders in the market at intervals like this. So it's doing the exact same thing. So price will come up here, it'll attract some sellers moving into the supply, and then it'll move away and move lower. And so super simple. And again, this is intraday, but if you want to go kind of bleeding edge, then you can say your trend time frame is the 1 hour and your entry time frame is the 15 minute or the 5 minute. So if we do that, what does that look like? Well, it looks pretty similar. You can see here we have a high, low, high, low. This one's been violated. What does that mean? That means find another pair. Otherwise, I mean, you would be selling. But again, when you're on the smaller time frames, you have to be careful because you can't see what's going on these major time frames, which is where the flows are, the major flows. So you have to be really, really careful. Which is why looking on the daily chart to scalp is just a fine idea. It's a fine idea. Good, so we can see here that we are kind of moving lower. So what do? Well, the robot will be looking to sell from above here. So this level and above, if I just mark that off, I go like this, it's going to look to sell from above this price point and higher, because this is the beginning of the sell zone. And it's actually looking from a price that is higher than the highest high so far. So it's going to look above this price level, and it's doing the exact same thing as I did, but it's doing it in code, which is really nice because in there's no subjectivity to it. But it's really, really simple. It's really, really simple, and if you do this, I think you'll do just fine, especially if you're looking to the daily chart for your direction. You'll be making much better decisions, even when you're trading on the 1 minute chart. So just keep that in mind. Here you can see we have a high, low, lower high, and lower low. What does that mean? Start selling those swings. And so you can see here that swing would be here from the high and above. So have a look here. Parent or child? It is a child. Here's a parent. Look to sell when price comes up to here. Okay, this is not supply. This is a reaction to supply, which is here. Price went down, wriggled up, white candles at the area, and then dumped away. So the supply's up here. Okay, so just do that, and I think you'll find out you're doing a lot better than you otherwise would. Also, if you're looking at one time frame, you're trying to make all these trading decisions there. Just do that quickly. And you're on the 1 hour chart or the half an hour chart because you're a scalper. I mean, you're trading in the dark. I mean, here you can say, yeah, I mean, I should be selling. If you go to the 1 minute chart, oh, it looks like you should be buying, you know. Selling, 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 buying because price is lower than price, and so you're going to get all of these conflicting messages. So you have to know what's going on the major time frames. So yeah, we're kind of moving lower, but we're around here. So sell with caution. We can also maybe see that we probably have divergence potentially going on because this is happening at demand. This could be a low, and this could be a push into liquidity to find buyers in anticipation that price is going higher. We're probably going to get price going like that. This strength histogram is going like that, so be careful about selling here. Yeah, cool. I shan't spend any more time on that. It's pretty simple. Use a couple of time frames. If you're more comfortable with 3, use 3, but then you'll have a more difficult time finding them line up. So use the daily chart and then do your entries on the 1 hour or lower on these micro areas, and just look for these pullbacks, these swings, the highs of the pullbacks, and start to look to sell above these above these highs, because this is the beginning of the sell zone and the opposite for a buy zone. I think if you do that, I think you'll find you're going to be doing a lot better in your trading. Good. Well, I hope this was useful. Type your messages in the symposium forum, and I'll see you in the next symposium. Thanks for watching.